Every big city has its secrets. Some are made up and some are real. And we're here to talk about them. Los Angeles is known as the City of Angels, but it also has its dark side, with ghosts and demons. In this video, we're gonna talk about 13 most haunted places in Los Angeles. So be careful if you decide to explore them. Hi, I'm Alina, welcome to or welcome back to my channel. The Sunset Strip in Hollywood has always been a favorite spot for celebrities. The biggest stars, wealthy business people, and famous artists used to hang out at clubs there. One of the most famous spots was Chiro's, which opened in 1940. Now it's known as the Comedy Store, a famous club for laughter worldwide. But late at night, people say the spirits of Chiro's still linger. Some waitresses also noticed strange things happening there, mostly harmless pranks. A young woman would enter a room, light candles, set up tables, and leave. After 5 minutes, she would come back to find the candles out, the lights off, and the door locked. When she returned with the key, she'd see the door open and the room arranged again. One night, comedian and security guard Blake Clark was leaving through the back when he heard piano music playing from the belly room, a small venue upstairs. Clark hurried upstairs thinking that someone was stuck inside, but as soon as he unlocked the door, the music stopped. He turned on the light and saw no one there. After checking every corner and locking up, he heard the piano keys being bent deliberately as he was leaving. Clark often heard the piano playing when no one else was around. It seemed like a mischievous spirit was enjoying itself even though it couldn't play very well. One night, Blake was closing the main room of Chiro's when he saw something strange. A chair at the edge of the stage started moving all on its own, sliding across to the other side. He couldn't believe his eyes as it moved further and further. Without a second thought, he hurried out of there. On another occasion, he went to turn off a light backstage, only to turn around and see 40 chairs stacked neatly in the middle of the stage, far away from where they should have been. In 1936, a man named William Wilkerson made a really nice office for his newspaper, The Hollywood Reporter, on Sunset Boulevard. He put a lot of effort into this office and eventually it felt like his second home. Even though he passed away in 1962, when they renovated his old office, it felt like he was still there. The Hollywood Reporter moved to a bigger place in 1992. The next year, another newspaper called the LA Weekly moved into the old building. Before they moved in, a construction worker named Jerry Brake did some work to make sure the building was stable enough during earthquakes. They tore down everything except for Wilkerson's old office upstairs. When Brake was working there, he often had the whole building to himself. One time while sitting at his desk, he noticed movement from the corner of his eye, a quick flash as if someone passed by his door. He thought it was just a trick of the light, but one night when Brake was in his office late, he felt a tap on his back. He turned around and no one was there. He stepped out into the hallway, but it was empty. Walking past a room to the left, he glimpsed a figure in a corner. When he checked the mirror nearby, he only saw his own reflection. Turning back, the figure had vanished. A few days later, at 5:30 in the morning, Brake heard a noise while he was alone. He followed the sound down the hallway toward the stairs, clearly hearing footsteps ahead of him. As he turned a corner, he thought he saw a figure, but the lighting was poor, making it hard to be sure. He went through the whole building by himself. As they were renovating, they removed the grand staircase, leaving only an elevator to get to the second floor. One late night, architect Ted Powell was in Wilkerson's office with a woman from the LA Weekly. They were all alone in the building when they heard what sounded like someone was tapping the ceiling below them with a broom handle. It was quite loud, especially since the ceiling was 9 feet high. They took the elevator down but didn't find anyone there. Just when they thought it was nothing, they heard footsteps from above in Wilkerson's office. They immediately left the building. The Santa Monica Municipal Pier was constructed in 1876, making it one of LA's oldest and most popular spots. There have been stories going around for years about a mysterious figure seen on a rooftop at night or riding the carousel horses. This spooky tale is one of the city's most famous ghost stories, but not much is known about it. Inside the Hippodrome, there is a well-preserved wooden carousel that's considered one of the best in the country. A Wurlitzer band plays lively calliope music. The carousel officially opened for business on June 10, 1916, drawing a lot of customers from the start. Years later, they replaced the old merry-go-round and turned the offices into apartments. In the 1960s, all kinds of people such as writers, musicians, hippies, beach lovers, and other people from LA's art world would come there and throw wild parties that could last 2 or 3 days and often end up on the roof. Artists like Robert Rauschenberg would join in. David Penn, who looked after the pier for 20 years, remembers hearing stories from past tenants about strange sounds after the parties. A quote, "Late at night when it was all quiet," Penn said, "the tenants heard footsteps in the hallway, but when they checked, no one was there. They also heard the carousel music, but when they rushed downstairs, no one was playing." This kind of thing happened more than once, but they didn't know who the ghostly visitor might be. Many fires happened in the apartments back in 1975. They got fixed up and turned into offices in the early 80s. When the pier got listed on the National Register of Historic Places. Penn says nobody stays there late at night anymore, and that's when people used to hear a ghost. He also mentions that now everyone working there is from the city and lacks imagination. This place has had different names over the years. It started as the Hollywood Playhouse in 1927, one of 4 theaters in Hollywood at the time. Then in 1942, a new owner changed its name to El Captain. Under this name, it set a record for the longest-running variety revue with Ken Murray's Blackouts. During the 1950s and 60s, it was often used for TV specials and variety shows. Nowadays, it's called Avalon, and it has been turned into a fancy nightclub. It's also used for TV specials, parties, filming, and showcases for music artists. Many people have special memories here of star-studded nights, and a lot of them come back for more. There's a hidden pianist here who plays jazz after hours, and you might also catch a whiff of perfume and the sound of high heels from unseen women. Legend has it that a stylish man in a tuxedo has been wandering around the theater for years. A couple dressed up in fancy 1930s clothes are having drinks in a private box. Harry used to work as an electrician for Blackouts, and he is known for playing pranks. He likes messing with cables and tools up on the high walkways. Many women over the years have said that they heard crying from a locked stall in the main lobby of Women's Lounge. People also complain about hearing voices in the balcony during shows, even when the balcony is empty. There are cold spots in those areas, and even daytime workers have heard a woman scream up there. There's another cold spot near the stairs backstage. These strange happenings might all be connected. There's a story that a chorus girl broke up with her technician boyfriend near those backstage stairs that went on stage. Shortly after, the upset boyfriend climbed to the walkways and fell onto the stage, dying in front of the girl who broke up with him. The Pantages Theater, which is a really fancy and beautiful movie theater in Hollywood, opened a long time ago on June 4, 1930. It's near the famous Hollywood and Vine intersection. This theater is known for its stunning Art Deco style, making it one of the prettiest theaters globally. In 1949, a rich guy named Howard Hughes, who was also a pilot, became the owner of RKO Studios, which included the Pantages Theater. Hugh really liked the Pantages, so he made fancy offices for himself on the 2nd floor. Hugh is often seen in the main offices, and his footsteps echo in the building. Assistants outside know he's coming when they smell cigarette smoke. You can also see young Hugh, tall and thin in a simple suit, walking through a wall that used to be his office's door. There's also a woman's presence in the theater. In 1932, a lady died in the mezzanine during a show. Now sometimes you can hear a woman singing. It happens during the day and late at night after everyone's left. Workers at the Pantages Theater had an idea about a voice. They thought that the young woman who died there might have wanted to be a singer. She probably came to watch one of the musicals that were really famous in the early 1930s. Now they believe she's living her dream of performing at the Pantages. Interestingly, she doesn't seem nervous anymore. Even during a live show, her voice has been heard through the theater's microphone system, even though nobody can see her on stage. Sid Grauman had a grand plan for his fourth theater in Los Angeles. Teaming up with architect Raymond Kennedy, they designed a Chinese-inspired building. It featured a 90-foot-tall pagoda with a 30-foot dragon mask and a fancy cupola roof. But what really made it stand out was the forecourt. Grauman's clever idea was to put the concrete blocks with famous stars' hand and footprints there. He also added private salons for parties after premieres and awards ceremonies. To keep things secretive, he installed buzzers near lamps in the lobby to signal hidden panels to open. These rooms have been closed for a long time and their buzzers don't work anymore. However, that doesn't bother some people. One employee kept hearing buzzers in his office upstairs for weeks. At first, he thought it was the office intercom acting up. Later, he realized the buzzers were actually coming from the sealed rooms, signaling the secret salons. There's also a ghost named Fritz in the theater. Fritz used to work there, although nobody knows exactly when. He tragically ended his life by hanging himself behind the movie screen. Since then, people have felt his presence all over the theater. Everyone is familiar with Fritz and no one is scared of him. The movie changed how silent films were made. The brothers behind it had faced a lot of criticism and doubt, but took a big risk by investing everything they had in this new idea. Brother Sam Warner was really involved in adding sound to movies. He worked hard on a new theater, the biggest one on Hollywood Boulevard, made specifically for sound. Sam had big plans for the movie's premiere in Hollywood, but problems with construction meant that they had to show it in New York instead. The critics loved it, but sadly Sam never got to hear their praise. The night before the premiere, he had a stroke and died. He was only 40 years old and worked so hard that it cost him his life. Sam Warner passed away just as he was about to achieve his dreams, and he wasn't ready to give up. His work wasn't finished and he was too determined to leave it undone. He returned to the theater he loved, where security guards saw his ghostly figure using the elevator, moving chairs, and scratching at doors. Even locals claimed to have seen him pacing in a lobby near a plaque dedicated to him. Guests at the Roosevelt Hotel have fun with lots of paranormal activity from the hotel past. Kids playing in the halls, a pianist in a white suit and very old shoes playing the piano upstairs, and ghostly figures swimming in the pool late at night. Marilyn Monroe liked staying at the Roosevelt so much that she bought a big old mirror for her favorite room above the pool. When she died in 1962, they put the mirror in storage. Years later, during a big renovation, workers found the old mirror in the basement, forgot its story, and put it up in the lobby downstairs. People often see Monroe's reflection in a mirror there, where she would often apply lipstick and fix her hair. Another presence is Montgomery Clift, who was her co-star in Monroe's Misfits and a 4-time Oscar nominee. He's often seen in room 928, which was his home for several months in 1952 during the filming of From Here to Eternity. Many visitors come from all over the world hoping to experience Clift's ghost. Some past residents claim that they felt his presence in unusual ways, such as the phone ringing non-stop, loud radio playing, the room getting extremely hot, and even hearing him practice the bugle for his role in Eternity. There are even stories of him pushing a few guests while they were asleep. Once known as the Hollywoodland sign, this famous symbol of movie dreams also became a tragic spot for some people in Los Angeles who wanted to end their lives. For example, the actress Peg Entwistle. Her life was full of difficulties. Her father, who was also an actor, raised her when she lost her mother and stepmother when she was young. She also struggled in her personal life. Although Antwill got good reviews for her acting and performed with Humphrey Bogart, she always played the same type of role as a young and funny character and only got small parts in movies. In 1932, on September 18, a hiker discovered a body of a blonde blue-eyed actress in a crumpled state in a ravine beneath the Hollywoodland sign. Police thought she might have climbed a ladder used by workers to reach the top of the 45-foot H and jumped, ending her life. People who visit this place claim they still catch sight of the actress' ghost near the sign and occasionally notice the smell of her gardenia perfume. The silent movie theater, which used to be called Cinefamily and is now known as Brain Dead Studios, had a very interesting story. It all started in 1942 when a man named John Hampton opened the theater. He loved old silent films, which most of the people were getting rid of back then. Instead of throwing them away, Hampton kept them and showed them at his theater. He even used the dangerous chemicals in his bathtub above the theater to preserve those films. He didn't realize he was exposing himself to toxins that caused him to get cancer and passed away in 1990. After Hampton died, his student Lawrence Austin took over the theater. Back in 1997, there was a tragic event at the theater. People were watching a movie. A hired killer shot Austin in a lobby, killing him. It was later revealed that Austin's lover, James Van Sickle, who worked as the theater's projectionist, had planned the murder. Even tried to claim that Austin had left him the theater in a handwritten will, but the police didn't believe him. Both Van Sickle and the hitman are now serving life sentences in prison. During an event called Spirits with Spirits, a lady who was present on the night of the shooting shared her experience. She saw Austin's body and hasn't returned to the theater since then. There are rumors that Austin's ghost still lingers in the lobby and Hampton's ghost is sent to wander the second floor where he used to live. Do you know about the sad story of Doña Petronilla? It's a ghost story told by writer Michael Imlay and Creepy LA. In the late 1800s, a rich landowner named Don Antonio Feliz died from smallpox. Legend says that when his 17-year-old niece Doña didn't get her share of the will, she cursed the land and its owners. Since then, bad things have happened to the people who owned the land. One of the last owners was Griffith J. Griffith. He gave 3,105 acres to the city, but then went to jail for hurting his wife. Some people believe they've seen a young woman named Doña riding a horse in a park. Thomas Davy, a security officer at Griffith Park, said that some park rangers have told him that they've seen ghosts and strange things happening around the park. He's worked there for 4.5 years but hasn't seen anything himself. Hollywood Forever Cemetery was started in 1899. Many famous Hollywood stars are buried there. People say they hear a woman crying near the lake. They think it's a ghost of Virginia Rubb, who died during the Fatih Arbuckle scandal. In 1920, half of the cemetery was sold to make Paramount Studios. This studio is now on the oldest cemetery land. Sometimes studio workers spot people in the old-fashioned clothes heading towards the cemetery wall and vanishing into the breeze. Hollywood Forever got listed in the National Register of Historic Places in May 1999. The Linda Vista Hospital used to be a medical center in Los Angeles. It was meant to be the main hospital for Santa Fe Railroad workers and was called the Santa Fe Coast Lines Hospital. Since the hospital closed, it was really run down and it seemed like it was taken over by the spirits of people who passed away there. But because it's close to Hollywood, it got a new lease on life. A bunch of movies and TV shows were filmed there, such as Outbreak, End of Days, Pearl Harbor, and the first episode of ER. While they were filming, people noticed some paranormal activity. The security guards and the people working on the shows said that they saw weird things such as moving shadows, hearing cries at night, and hearing humming noises. Some even said they felt like they were being touched or pushed by something they couldn't see. People who visit say they see 3 ghosts there. One is a little girl who supposedly died during surgery and she's mostly seen in a surgical room. Another ghost is of an orderly who died suddenly while working. He goes through the hallways checking rooms. There's also a ghost of a young woman seen walking on the 3rd floor. Nowadays, this place called Hollenbeck Terrace, and it houses elderly people in their final days. Thank you for watching, like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!